Welcome back to my channel and this little series of mine, chatting with people in the pedal industry that I think uh, are criminally underrated and under spoken to, if that's the right way to phrase it. Probably not. Um, this week, chatting with Travis from Trapdoor Electronics. Welcome, Travis. Thanks very much for agreeing to do this and to give up some of your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Of
Thank
course.
you. So, Trapdoor Electronics, first of all, awesome name. Great name for a company, for a pedal company. How did
Thanks.
you come up with that name? Where did that come from?
That was because it's not that cool of a reason really. It's when I knew that the first thing I wanted to do was put out the like an improved Exit Index, which had been this limited edition Death by Audio pedal that I did. It was like the only one that I ever did all my more or less all myself there, and I was like, should I keep the name? I was like, if not, Trapdoor Tremolo is a pretty good name because it's like kind of unexpected the way it comes in and out, and like a trapdoor. And that was the idea. But then I was like, well, no, it should have the original name. But then Trapdoor stuck. That's really all it was. So
Well, it works. I like it. It's a great name. I think
cool.
it's first time I heard it, I was like, damn, that's a good name for a company. I like
Yeah, I was kind of surprised it hadn't been taken. Um,
that.
so
Cool bringing up about the Exit Index Redux of yours. We'll
hmm
get to that later on. I think we'll probably go chronologically through things a little bit. Probably makes more sense to do it that way. So
sure.
we will cycle back around to that pedal later on. So first of all, how did it all start for you? Not necessarily building pedals, but just effects in general. Like what was the first
Yeah.
experience hitting a stomp box for the first time?
I think the first one yeah, the first pedal I ever had was that weird DOD phaser where it's like spelled like phasor.
Yeah.
Um, and that was like a random birthday present when I was a teenager. I remember my parents got me that and a Pavement album for a birthday. Um, and it's a really not, I don't know, it wasn't that phasery. It only had one knob, which I think was rate. And uh, but to me, it was like really cool because it was my first ability to make it sound electronically different. You know, I would do like weird stuff. Like I remember, like I'd take like cassette tape, like the plastic cassette tape case, and like put that under the strings to like get weird chimey stuff. But this was the first one where just hitting a button made it do something else. So that was the first one, and I think the next one was probably like a DS1 or something, and then
Classic.
I want to say yeah, and I think that was like I found it because those are like $40 new, so those are like very easy to just come across, and I want to say like Turbo Rat and DD5 or DD6 or something, and
More classic
yeah,
pedals. You had a pretty solid start to your first few
yeah,
pedals.
yeah. I was lucky not to get one of those like super 90s-y, which I feel like were like very all around like those like almost like had like a really they had like a weird compressed kind of
Yeah,
crunchy distortion to them that very like late 90s new metal kind of sound.
yeah,
I'm lucky that
definitely.
that wasn't my first pedal, I feel like.
Yeah, it might have been the trajectory of your pedal journey may have been very
Yeah,
different. You
yeah,
start out with a death metal or something,
yeah.
Digitech or one of those kind of. I think they
But
were all called like some kind of metal something, Metal Zone, or
yeah,
obviously is the big one, but. I think the word metal was just a very popular word to throw in there somewhere.
yeah. On our the album that my band just got finished, we just mastered it. But while we were recording it, we like came across in the studio like a it's like this really, I think it's DoD, maybe Digitech, but I think DoD, like it's like 10 pedals on a board, and it's all of the like most like tacky, tasteless distortion sounds imaginable. But we got some like cool, like there was like that was all we needed for like an overdub in the background. It was interesting to play them.
I'm sure it sounds it. Yeah, that phasor you mentioned
Mhm.
as the first pedal. I've never tried one of those, but I wonder if it's being a one knob deal. I wonder if it's got any um, relation in any way to the Electro-Harmonix. I always get something
Yeah.
stone. Is it the bad stone or is it the
Uh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
is it bad stone or small clone? I'm thinking of. I forget
There's
which
small
is which.
clone. Small clone's the chorusy
That's
one.
right. I always get mixed up with those two.
Yeah, yeah, and I've never. People swear by the or the small clone, um, as just being like a great chorus sound. I would be shocked if anybody said that the DoD phaser thing was their favorite phaser that
Yeah.
I had.
Okay.
If maybe that it's like it's your go-to for like a weird chirping sound that you can get, but
Oh,
like
really? Okay. It's like that, is
that. Yeah, I
it?
mean, like maybe you like figured out a trick, but I can't imagine if you were like, I want a phaser and this is just the best phaser. Like, no, I don't think anybody would
Do
would
you
say that.
do you still have that pedal, or is it long gone?
I think I still have it somewhere. It was also, in addition to being the first pedal I owned, it was the first pedal that I broke.
Oh, right. Okay.
And which I think was just in the form of like, I don't know that I stepped on it until this happened, but like at some point I came across it and the stomp switch had been like caved into the enclosure,
Oh,
and now I would know how to fix that, but at the time I did not. So
right.
um, yeah,
Oh well. Well, rest in peace,
yeah,
DoD phaser, wherever
yeah.
you are. Maybe you should, if you dig it out and get it repaired, that would be an interesting pedal to kind of um, incorporate maybe into like a dual pedal with something else, like some kind of distortion before it or after it, or an order switch to
Yeah,
switch. I'm going to run off and
yeah.
go on a tangent thinking about that now.
No, I should find it and see if I can get it working. Um, if for no other reason than just to hear what it sounds like again, because in my
Yeah,
memory it really just did this like kind of like chirpy thing. Um, yeah,
yeah. I think it's very interesting as well, like how you use effects when you're younger and you don't really know what you're doing, and you're just
hmm
playing around with stuff, and then going back and retreading over that ground as an adult, looking back and
yeah,
trying rediscovering all these older effects and things, and thinking like, oh wow, I can't believe I didn't fully appreciate what I had back then, and like figure I didn't realize it could do this or whatever.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, where did the path take you then from those early days of going from having your own pedals that you bought to then building your own and
hmm
getting into that side of things?
That was through playing music in New York, meeting, um, just kind of through like mutual. Like there were a lot of people that lived at what was a place called in some ways called Death by Audio that didn't work at the pedal company. But they were all friends, and they like some of them were like coming to my band's shows, and so we started hanging out through. Um, our bassist moved in there, so I was there all the time, and I think I had just lost my temp job, and so I just told Oliver, I was like, if you ever need any help, like any help at all, I don't, So that was really all it was. I'd never soldered anything. I didn't know that there were. I didn't know. I I think looking back, I probably assumed that there were like switches that when you turn them on, they like distort things, and not like that. A switch is just a mechanical device that like puts your, like I didn't know any of this, so it was that was how I learned everything, and I was curious enough about what made it work instead of just how to build it. to want to learn more. So
Right.
that
That's
was
amazing.
really,
So
that was
did you
it.
actually did you actually learn on the job then, or was it kind of before you actually got to work there? You were learning before that, or you literally got the
No,
job, or then you were like learning it as you were going?
yeah, I was learning as I was going. It was
Wow.
come in tomorrow. We could use some help, and learn how to, or learned what soldering was supposed to look like, and then like I think
Right.
like went home that night and watched like YouTube videos, and came in the next day with more of an idea. But it was really intermittent at the time. It was like, like 2 days a week, and sometimes they didn't need any help. And at some point, it became the thing that I was doing every day with just a couple of us. And um, yeah, it kind of felt like it came to me naturally, or I like to think it did, I guess. And yeah, entirely on the job, though.
That's amazing. I
So.
would never have guessed that. I'm trying to think of a parallel or what that would be like for like in my own life. Like imagine like getting a job working at I don't know a Lamborghini or something, just going
Yeah.
up like, hey, do you guys need a hand? I can sweep up, or I can make teas and coffees, or I can do whatever, whatever you need.
Right.
I just need some work, whatever you've got, it'd be great. So I'd love to work for you guys. And then go, oh yeah, yeah, if you could just jump in and just grab a pen and help us, design, drawing up the new shape for the new car. It'd be like that'd be great. It'd be like, what?
I guess it's kind of similar in some ways to like how a lot of studio engineers and producers get started, though, where it's like, can I hang out in the studio and I'll do whatever, like you said, getting tea and sweeping up and stuff, and like you kind of, if you're lucky, you might like get to learn how to work some of the gear, and then at some point somebody asks you to do it because you're cheaper, and like like that. I feel like that's how like a lot of the engineers, like classic engineers, like kind of got started, was just
Right.
same kind of thing, and then like entirely learning on the job. But yeah, they don't really do it with like lawyers or anything. It's
No,
weird.
no. Yeah, no. I think it's one of those. It's one of those life lessons, I think, isn't it? Once you've got your foot in the door somewhere that you want, if there's anywhere that you want to be, you think, oh, I just want to be involved somewhere. I don't even care to what capacity.
Yeah.
I just want to be in the building somewhere. Just being involved in the process. That would be amazing. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad things worked out for you though. That you were able to get in there. That must have been absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Getting a job
it was
with Death by Audio.
yeah, it was great. I mean, I was there hanging out 4 days, 5 days a week already. So it was, yeah. I mean, I'm incredibly thankful to Oliver for needing the work and giving it to me, and
Yeah.
and like helping me just like learn how to first just get good at really just building pedals, not understanding anything about what's happening really. But yeah, I'm
Yeah, man.
very thankful. Very cool situation.
He seems like a really cool, down to earth guy. It's like I would like to get him on here at some point for a chat as well. Maybe that'll happen at some point soon. But
I'm
yeah,
sure he'd love to.
yeah, it'd be great to be. I hope he'd be up for it. Yeah, what kind of time period was this then? What do you remember? What year it would have been roughly? Like when this was?
It would have been like 2009 when I started going in with like some regularity, and I think by 2010 it was like my job. It was really just me and Oliver and one other guy, Matt, and yeah, I remember like certain things. Like I remember dates on like when we went from having a very small little room to like somebody moved out of the like loft collective thing at Death by Audio, so we like knocked down a wall, and then we had a pretty good sized room, and that was 2010. So I remember like when we first had somebody else come in, and that was probably, I think, 2012. Um,
Cool.
and then yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask about the Exit Index. Obviously, we touched on it already
Hmm.
briefly. So, your development, you coming up with that circuit, that pedal design, how
Hmm.
did that come about? Was it did you stumble upon it, or was it something you set out deliberately to do? Or yeah, how did it come about?
It was 100% stumbled upon. I was actually setting out to do what I hadn't even thought about this until right now. So the newest pedal that I just came out with has like an envelope filter on it, and I was trying to do an envelope filter, and I
Okay.
could not get it to work. I think at some point I just was like, maybe this is plugged in wrong, so I just started messing around with stuff and like pulled something out, plugged something in over here, and then it just started doing this like crazy pulsing. I was like, well, that's something. So
That's
um,
cool.
yeah, and then but it was like this very primitive version of it where it was like it was doing that, but it didn't sound very good. And I'm sure a lot of people would say that the exit index doesn't sound very good anyway, but it sounded worse. So I had to like figure out how to like double the voltage getting to the chip. Had to just like clean it up because it was just this
Yeah.
like wild, like untamed thing.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, it was a complete accident.
That's cool that you had the realization that wait, hang on, that's cool, and then like what you're trying to do gets put on hold and put over here, and then wait,
Yeah,
let's dig into
yeah.
this. Let's make
It's
this
I
work
think that's a
instead.
lot of it. It's a lot of it like it's a lot of it with pedals. It's a lot of it with music making in general too. Like maybe you'll be like, this song needs a synth part or something,
Yeah,
and you do the synth part and you end up thinking like this is its own song.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
eventually you might even think the original song isn't very good. So
yeah. Like I'm
mhm.
liking this new bit they've been working on way more than the
Yeah,
bit we were doing before. Let's just do this.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
very true. Yeah, I love when things like that happen organically. It just feels like it's more, it has more worth or something somehow. Like it's
Hmm.
just it's like it was always meant to exist, and you're the one that's like stumbled upon it. Like you haven't invented it so much as you've found it and like pulled it out the
Yeah,
air. And it's I love that. That's really
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah, and keeping with like the song analogy, it's the same as like finding a song instead of sitting down to be like, I will now write a very sad song or something.
Yes.
Like manufacturing a song. And
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
so you mentioned the exit index. Some people touching on maybe some people thinking it doesn't sound very good. I
I would
definitely
guess
think it
so.
sounds awesome. I mean, it was originally a limited release. Is that correct?
Hmm.
Am
Yeah,
I right about that?
yeah.
Um, I know it. I know it was. It didn't. It wasn't out for very long anyway. So I don't know how many units were there actually. Did you guys make of that?
I think it
Under the Death
was
by Audio name, of course.
right. It was whatever it was. I want to say it was like 157,
Oh
something
wow!
totally random because it was like a really stupid like a friend. I don't regret it at all, but like a friend who also had a pedal company and was in a band was like, you should do a limited edition pedal for your like my then band's new album and
Right.
just like call it the name of the album as long as the name of the album isn't something stupid and as long as it's like something kind of sharp sounding, like cool.
Yeah.
um and so it was that, and then the catalog, we had to decide on a number to give it or to make, and the catalog number for the album was 157 or whatever it
Cool.
was. That's what it was. So
That's cool.
yeah.
That's the kind of effect I think that it doesn't necessarily appeal to a wide audience, but then the ones that do
Right.
dig it really, really like it, and that's like their secret weapon pedal, or that like the one that they kind of go to a lot for
Ideally.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, how was the reception, the reaction once you finally went your own way and you brought this effect back into like regular production?
um Good. It was I mean, I there were two things that made me think it made sense to do it, and one was that I was seeing that they were going for what I thought was too much on reverb, the originals, and so I was like, I don't want, and in addition to that, there were things that I did not like about the original that I was all 100% on me.
Right.
That I was like, I would like to improve that and have people be able to get this for less. And then there were enough people who would every once in a while, because it was not branding. It was just like the way it was. My Instagram handle is or was Exit Index, just because I thought it was a good combination of words. And so some people would tag me in that. So
Right.
those people were like really excited that it was coming back. And I remember, I think I released it at like midnight, and I want to say like it sold a bunch like before I went to bed that night, which was great.
That's got to be incredibly validating to have that happen.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Like, oh, I suppose this is a good idea. After all, I should do more of these.
Yeah. It made me feel like, because it's like really nerve wracking being like, all right, it's gonna come out at this time on this, and because I wasn't selling into stores at all, I was like, this is the first chance anybody will be able to get it. So I was like really nervous to like enable like carts or whatever it was that I have to do on the website. And I was like ready for it to just be like crickets. So it was good.
And did you have any like built up ready to go, or was it like a just as the orders come in, you just think ordering the parts and stuff to like fulfill the orders as they were coming in?
That one I was able to build a good amount before.
Right.
I don't think I was able to build enough to fill like the immediate like first day rush or whatever, but it was a lot of them going in, and so
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'd bought enough parts to like make plenty, so I had to just catch up on orders, which was great.
Yeah, I say it's a great pedal, and I remember when Instagram seems to just recommend channels and different people's feeds, channels to you that you otherwise wouldn't have a clue about, and that happened with your account. So I don't know
That's
what
awesome.
point I don't know at what point it was, but it was pretty early on, I think. It just kind of popped up, and I was like, "Ooh, what's that? That looks interesting." I was like, tapped on that, and I was like, interesting. That looks like it would be a fun pedal too. That's not an overdrive, that would be
right.
That would be an interesting one to demo. So yeah, just thought, oh, you never know. I'll reach out and see if this guy's interested in me promoting his stuff for him. And I was very grateful that you were able to send one over to me. It's an absolutely
likewise.
It was just it's mutually beneficial, hopefully. But it was a great pedal,
sure.
And it's a lot of fun to play with.
Thanks so much.
No, thank you. It's like I say, it was great to have that on my channel. I haven't actually checked it out lately to see how it's doing in the views, but I know it was pretty popular, and I'm sure that to the kind of people that have an open mind about wanting to experiment with effects and things, like having a dynamically controlled weird tremolo kind of a pulsing sort of effect thing. It's just and with like a kind of fuzz kind of element as well. It just sounded insane. So I'm sure it definitely appeals to us to certain people in my audience anyway.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you can get a normal or really great sounding tremolo. I guess it was just like this is the kind of thing that I was like, it gives me ideas when I'm playing. It makes me play differently, which I like.
I agree.
So
I agree. Yes.
I think it's for people. It's not for everybody, which is also good. So
right. No, I agree. Exactly. I love any effect that makes you that takes you to a place that you wouldn't have normally explored. Without that effect, I think it's worth its weight in gold. It's invaluable, I think, to have an effect that forces you to think outside the box and play differently, and you play to the effect and letting the effect kind of lead you down a path that you wouldn't have otherwise gone down. So Very cool, very cool. So I was
Awesome.
going to ask about what other effects that you might have had a hand in with Death by Audio, but you already answered that for me, saying it was was that the only one that you actually came up with yourself and
Yeah, that was
during that time?
yeah, that was the only one that like that. I mean, I think it was like roles kind of reversed on that, where on every other pedal up to that point, it would be like Oliver would be like, "Hey, this is getting somewhere. Do you want to play it and see what you think and see if you run into problems where you're like this does not make sense in a bad way, or like
Right.
and it was kind of like that with this, where it was like, Oliver, here's this effect that I have, help me um, with anything that stands out to you as being needing improvement or could be better,
Yeah.
or electrically, if there's like a something I'm like completely missing that I need to do or something like that. So yeah, but in general, that was what I had done. Like in terms of design stuff, electric design, like engineering design, had
Right.
been like a voice for just like, here's how I play guitar and here's what I would want it, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Awesome. That kind of segues into your next pedal release that came out after that, the dot dot damage.
hmm
What can you tell us about that one? Because I haven't actually tried that one myself, so I've only seen the videos that I've seen from your page and elsewhere. So what can you
hmm
tell us about that pedal?
it is that it is a fuzz pedal that is not also a modulation pedal or anything like that. And it's got like a really wide throw on the tone knob, like that's like kind of resonant from lower to high, like kind of sound to it. It's got two bias knobs that you can get some incredibly like choked, starved sounds out of it.
Awesome.
And you can get some really big, full sounds out of it. And it was basically like, that was for me. Like I was like, I want a pedal in a small enclosure for myself. I'm usually thinking at least a little bit about myself in terms of what would I like, and I was wanting a smaller enclosure, a fuzz that could get really massive and big, but also sound broken and shredded. If because I like that too. So
Yeah.
most of the really good sounding fuzzes that I have played or own, like the Fuzz War is an amazing sounding pedal, and I am actually really into the bass Big Muff. I think that's a great sounding fuzz pedal,
Mm.
but neither one of them can get you like that. Just like this is broken. This is a speaker that is blown. This is an amp that is dying, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I just wanted to have that in there too,
Right.
and that was really the idea. Was just I've always loved the sound of, with a tube amp, if you turn it off and then you keep playing and it's as it's dying, you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
this like really. So it was really, that was the kind of broken that I really wanted to be able to get, was that it's like weird octave sounds, um but instead of it only lasting for like 7 seconds, it lasts as long as you want. So
That's awesome. Yeah, no,
yeah.
there's something about any pedal that's got a starve control, or like say a bias, or anything like that, kind of
hmm
to choke the sound and get that kind of incredibly glitchy, barely hanging on to life kind of sound. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Yeah, it's a great effect to play with. So yes, it sounds great in demos in the videos that you posted as well. I'm like, ooh, that sounds awesome.
Cool. Yeah,
Uh,
it's one of two fuzz pedals I have on my board.
oh, what's the other
So
one?
the other one is currently that bass Big Muff, because
Oh, okay.
sometimes that was an accident. I had a kind of boutique cool fuzz pedal that died mid tour. I had to just go somewhere and buy something. And of all the ones that I tried all these like interesting, cool brands. And then the guy was like, you might just want the base Big Muff, honestly. The way you're describing what you want. And I was like, okay, yeah, and it worked. So right now that it's like that for kind of more normal sounds, and then this for weirder fuzz sounds.
Shout out to that guy for absolutely nailing that recommendation for you.
Yeah, he was spot on.
So that the bass Big Muff, is that the green one? Am I remembering that right? That's the green one, isn't it? Yeah. Just for my own...
and I think if you have the bass, it's the only Big Muff I've ever actually owned. I think if you have the bass knob off, then it's just a totally normal Big Muff. And
oh wow, okay.
I think I could be wrong, but with the bass mode on, it's great. It's got. I've always hated when fuzz pedals lose tons of low end when you turn them on, and this one does not. So
I noticed you've played bass in a couple of the videos you posted on your Instagram. Is that, do you play bass quite a lot, or is that just mainly kind of demonstrating the bass, how it sounds on a bass, like the pedals?
Yeah, it was just that. It was that I like the last couple of pedals I'd forgotten when we were doing the demos to show what it can sound like with bass, and I just wanted to make a point. And I feel like the stuff when like we were like editing together the demo, I was like, that's what I was playing on the bass. That's no bass player is gonna like think that's cool. So I hope the riffs are like okay, because it's like on the spot. I'm like, I don't know, okay, a bass riff, and then but it like needs to bring out like certain things about the pedal. So I don't know, but yeah, I can play bass, but I don't do it very often.
No, same. I don't. I have got a bass, but almost never plug it in or have a play on it. But whenever I do, it's always a lot of fun, and I just think, why don't I do this more often? It's such a great instrument. What was I going to say now? I've lost myself. Oh, that's right. Yeah, talking about the dot damage. That's right. Is that pedal based on anything else that you've tried, or is it just something that you completely came up with yourself and brought into existence?
Yeah, it's no, it's not based on anything. It's 5 transistors. Like I think it was JHS has like a pedal show, and they were showcasing new pedals, and they like I saw somebody sent it to me. It might have been you. It was somebody sent me a link. They were like, "Hey, your pedal's on the JHS show right now, or whatever." And he saw it, and he was like, 2 bias knobs. Oh, I wonder if this is a clone of. And then he said a pedal that I've never heard of. And then he said, "Oh wait, it's 5 transistors, so it's totally different." But it's it was really just going like transistor at a time, like getting gain staging, really just like getting like a cool sound with this transistor, but like leaving plenty of room to build on it, and getting more and more into like out of overdrive into fuzz, and and then at the last stage, just giving the user room to decide how that I think it's just the last transistor, maybe it's the second to last transistor is biased on two of the pins.
Okay.
Because to me, all of the options sounded cool, so I was like, "Well, that's the controls." Then is what I'm trying to decide on what these values of these components should be. Is like, no, well, that's what they get to decide. So
yeah, I like that. That's so often you see controls like that as internal trim pots as well. Then it's just like, no, I want to be able to do that on top of the pedal, like having to keep taking the back off every time to make a little adjustment. It's just like, oh, it's so annoying.
Yeah, no one's ever going to do that. Or I mean, I shouldn't say no one, but like certainly, like unless you are having the most luxurious recording session ever, you're not going to take your pedal apart. You're certainly not going to do it at practice and never at a show. It's like,
of course not.
So
just being able to quickly bend down, just make a tiny little adjustment, tweak a little bit, and you think it's just so much easier. Just like, can everyone just do this, please? It's like sometimes it makes sense, But
I get it if it's like you've already got 6 knobs or something.
yeah, I mean,
Sure.
yes, some
And
of it,
but
sometimes it is more of a kind of a set and forget kind of a control. You think, yeah,
right.
once you've got it dialed in how you like it, you're never likely to ever want to change it again. But still, yeah, a lot of the time you just think, nah, I want to be able to sweep that parameter, a little bit now and again.
Yeah. Well, and it controlled the sound, the 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 sweep on these 2 bias knobs. It just changed, especially with the different combinations you can get, and then bringing in the tone knob. It was like there's just too much of the range of what this pedal. It's like wildly different, in
Right.
different positions. It's like so it would have been a bummer to put the pedal out and have it be like locked into a narrower window of options.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it could have been like, here's a narrow window as far as what the knobs do, and then here's an extra stomp switch or toggle switch for if you want like insane mode or whatever. But um, I just thought it was cool to be able to sweep them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. Okay, so the new one then, the Active Acid.
Mm-hmm.
This not having tried that one either yet. That one seems like a pretty involved, complicated design.
Yeah.
What can you tell us then about how that came to be and what's involved in that pedal? What does it do and everything?
Well, like a lot of the other stuff, it came from. I love the sound of a moving filter. That's like one of my favorite things. And I have one. I had one, and it was just it take up. I didn't use most of the functions. I took up a lot of room on my board, so I was like, I just kind of want a really good low pass filter. So I looked around and found out that the Prophet 5, the designer of the original Prophet 5 filter,
Yeah.
had redone that, like, not like it sounds exactly the same, but it's just more reliable, more stable, all that stuff. He had started doing that. And most of the, if not everybody doing it, was using it for modular or synth stuff. I was like, why not try and put that in a pedal? And once I got the filter, just the basic filter function working, I was like, okay, cool. Well, my second favorite sound is an envelope filter being very tastefully used. So then I added an envelope and then started experimenting with what that could sound like. And, same kind of thing where, like, what if I pull out this part? Oh, that sounds good too. So now that's a toggle switch. And then just added an LFO, or an LFO with lots of wave form options, and then added a side chain so that you could, because I love things like pulsing and moving together. Like I
Right.
love dynamic things that are not just like like a good sound being played without relationship to something else. I love movement and
Right.
effects, and so the idea of being able to sidechain the envelope to a drum machine or a synth or somebody singing into it,
Right.
just really was cool to me as far as the options. And then once I enabled
Hmm.
that, it sounded nuts. So like, or it could sound nuts. It can also sound really tasteful and stealth and
Yeah.
subtle.
Subtle.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but like on this new record for our band Activity, like we wanted something to sound strange, like kind of like rhythmic, but not too sympathetic to what is happening in the song. So we took the drum mic, we took like the room mic from another song, and side chained the reverb on a vocal to that through the filter pedal. So it's just like it's like crazy fluttering sounds. Honestly, it wasn't
That
my
sounds
idea.
awesome.
So when the engineer was like, "Hey, I did this last night with that prototype you gave me," I was like, "That's insane! It sounds nuts." It's like this like sucking sound that's happening really fast, and it was really exciting to me it's still exciting to me every time I get to test them. Just I'm like, there's still tons of sounds in this thing that I'm.
Yeah, that's got to be
Um,
really cool to have somebody else find or stumble upon a way of using something that you've made that you hadn't even planned on and
yeah, and
figured out.
it legitimately sounded like incredible. Like, I mean, it was. I'm giving the credit to him. I'm not just saying like the pedal
Yeah,
sounds incredible, but like it was legitimately like it wasn't like, hey, just so you can feel better about yourself, I used that stupid box you made. It was like, hey, that sound that you're already really into, here's what I did to get that. Like, and I was like, oh, wow, okay. So,
that's awesome. I
yeah.
really like that. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm very keen to try that one out. It's I know you've already said I can I can demo that one at some point. So I'm looking.
Yeah, I will I am trying to get caught up on I only released 25. I think they're sold. I mean, I'll do more, but I just was like
Yeah,
that's how many I can reasonably build before I don't
sure.
want any so I have to catch up on all those and then
Yeah, there's no rush.
I'll
I'm not rushing you. I'll definitely prioritize. The
oh
ones
yeah,
that
no, I know, but I
you've
want you
sold
to have
already.
one. So everybody, honestly, everybody that it was such a kind of um, nerve wracking thing to go on out on a limb and do
Yeah,
my own pedal company. So everybody who was like supportive early on was like I'm very appreciative. So thanks so much. It's my pleasure to send you one as soon as I can.
thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm yeah very
Yeah,
keen
thank you.
to check it out. It's yeah, it looks awesome, and I can't wait to dig around and see if I can figure out some maybe some cool ways to use it that you haven't figured out. You haven't
You I
found
you almost
yourself yet.
certainly will. Yeah, somebody who got one sent me a video like the day they got it and it was just and I was like, wow, like I was like that's an awesome and which is it's amazing to me because the more than the other two pedals and probably more than anything I'll do new thing for a while because I just don't know when I'd be able to stumble across it. It's like it's
Mm.
almost like a synthesizer where every knob in relation to everything else and not in I don't think in an obnoxious way. It's just like if the filter cutoff is here and the LFO's here and the envelope's here, it's like a wildly different vibe than moving all of those things 20%. And it really just makes it so that um, no two people are going to use it the same, I
No,
guess.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's I think that's the mark of a really fun, cool pedal is when there's it can be used in so many different ways and cause different people using the same effect to have completely different to go down completely different routes with using it, like figuring out like their own preferred way of implementing it in their sound and the way they play and stuff. I think that's really
Yeah,
cool.
I hope so. I hope, like I said, I hope it's not frustrating to people that get it and they're just like, I hope it's not like overwhelmingly weird or anything.
Mm.
I hope it's just fun. So,
I'm sure it is. I'm sure. Say the reaction you've had so far from it, or that I've seen, is pretty positive. I think there's a lot of people excited about this new pedal. So
yeah.
yeah, I think it's going to be a hit. I'm
Thanks.
That's my
Hope so.
prediction. Okay, so we talked about your own pedals.
Hmm.
What I usually ask pedal builders when I get a chance to have a chat with them is there a particular pedal that exists that you kind of wish that you'd come up with? Or you think like, that would be an amazing pedal to have in my own kind of catalogue of my own repertoire of
Yeah,
effects.
that is a really good question because there's definitely pedals that I love and swear by. What is still one of the coolest pedals to me, and I say this because when I was playing with my band earlier tonight, I turned it on in a mode that I kind of thought I had outgrown. The PS3, the pitch
Ah, nice.
shifter, my boss, it's just such. It's so. First of all, there's tons of different modes that are not in a really classy, tasteful way. They all have something to do with each other, and it's not just like an annoying like combination pedal, but like the sound of the when you have like a double harmony going on that is so rich, and there's like a perfect amount of lag before it like gives you your harmony. Like it doesn't track super well.
Right.
But for like if you're not playing super fast, which I'm usually not, like it's awesome. So I think that's one of the more evergreen inspirational pedals to me that is I really am going to try to never do like digital programming type stuff, but that like knowing that that's kind of what you have to do to learn to be able to do stuff like that kind of
Right.
makes me think maybe I should. Um,
I think you
I
should,
always
yeah,
thought,
definitely. If that's the kind of, I mean, looking at what you do with analog circuits, I think, oh, if this guy
mm-hmm.
was let loose on the DSP, it's like, man, the world is not ready.
Yeah. No, I mean it would be really fun. There's so many of the kind of digital like DSP um, programmed oriented stuff to me that like right now sounds overly similar to
Right.
other stuff, and all of it sounds good, so that's not a knock. It's more just like it's kind of like choose which algorithms you like the best as a
Right.
user. And I think for me to feel excited about it as a maker, I would take me a while to like really find my niche and ability to like get the sounds that I want, instead of it just being like, yeah, that is a reverb, and
Yeah.
you know, um, but and that's not to knock it. It's more me saying like that's where I would be starting with it. It's just
Yeah.
it making it functional, and it would take a while to make it fun for me, I guess.
Yeah. I think I'm right there with you with that. It sounds like you're of a similar mindset to me. Like if I always think, and I'm always the most impressed by uh, pedals that have a completely unique take on whatever effect it is, rather than just just like I say, another other overdrive, that's
Mm-hmm.
based on a tube screamer. That's obviously the classic kind of
Right.
stereotype kind of uh,
Right.
kind of a meme at this point. Just like, oh, another tube screamer. But
Another tube screamer.
yeah, or
Yeah.
another clone or whatever it is.
Right.
But yeah, like you say, even just reverb in general. Like I love reverb. I'm obsessed with reverb. I
Yeah.
probably view reverb is probably to me what overdrive is like for a, a guitar, a blues obsessed, you know,
Mm-hmm.
older gentleman, shall we say? Uh,
Yeah. Well, there's so much character in different reverbs that gives you so much of a
yeah,
different feeling. Like the reverb that's like all over like a Cure record is very different than on like a lo-fi
yeah, of
uh,
course,
garagey type. And you can't they're not interchangeable. Like well, they like one dictates the vibe of the whole thing. So
sure,
um, yeah, it's a very personal thing finding that
definitely, yeah.
perfect reverb for the right song.
Definitely. But there's always a part of me when a new reverb pedal comes out, and you think, oh, okay, what does this do? And then you find out,
Mm-hmm.
you look into it, and you watch all the demos, and you basically find out, oh, it doesn't really do anything remotely new. It's just your standard, Hall,
Right.
Spring, whatever. And you think, oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool, I guess, but why exactly did you?
Yeah.
There's already like
Yeah.
so many other pedals out there that do those effects exactly. Not
Yeah.
yeah. So I basically just have that's my own personal kind of opinion. Is think if a pedal is going to be. If it's worth building a new pedal and releasing a new pedal out into the market, it should, I think, be at least some element of it should be a unique take on
Yeah.
that effect.
It's fill some kind of need that
Yeah,
like if it's like I wouldn't want to make a pedal that like I could already buy a better version than I could personally design.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, a good example of a pedal, I don't know that I couldn't do a equally good but very different kind of thing, but I in terms of a pedal I wish I had designed, the Fuzz War is kind of just an amazing fuzz pedal.
It's so
it really is.
You need to get out of my head, because I was literally just about to mention the Fuzz War as that was for me, that was like an exception. I always kind of, in my own kind of limited perspective, before I'd even tried one or anything, I just thought, oh man, yeah, the Fuzz War, that's basically just a fancy big muff. It's basically exactly the same. It's just in a fancy enclosure or whatever. And then my best mate bought one, and I was like, "Oh, you've not bought one of them, have you? It's like you're such a poser. You should just buy a Big Muff Nano. It saves space. It's the same. It's going to sound exactly the same. And all this. And then he brought it to practice, and oh my days! Like when he kicked that on, I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, that's not a Big Muff. That's like a Big Muff on steroids. Like that is insane. Like that sounds amazing. So like, okay, I stand corrected.
yeah. I mean, what it kind of does, and this is really special and really impressive, is, or what I think of it as doing, or one of the things I think of it as doing is a big guitar album, big fuzz guitar album for me when I was like 12 was Siamese Dream.
Of course.
And that is the sound of 9 Big Muffs. And what Oliver figured out with the Fuzz War was kind of how to get the sound that they did by changing EQ on here's 7 mics on this drum cab, or on this guitar cab, and there's 2 or 3 tracks of differently tone swept Big Muffs that we're going to mix into one big muff, big fuzz guitar. And the Fuzz War kind of just sounds like the end product. Honestly,
all of those variants at different settings in one.
Yeah, you could really if they had it then, I wonder if they would have been able to do it with like half the guitar tracks, really, or a third or something. It's a really impressive pedal.
It really is. It sounds amazing, and it's awesome. And that new the bass one as well they just released, that sounds awesome as well. But on guitar, that looks really a really cool upgrade. Or
I need to get one of those. The bass one.
I was thinking about that earlier when you were talking about bass playing bass.
It might be the replacement for the bass Big Muff.
It could very well be. Yeah, it could be. Going from talking about the PS3, awesome pedal, by the way. I've demoed that a while ago, and I don't think I actually have it anymore. No, but
there was.
I remember Mode 7 particularly capturing my attention.
Yeah, from like 2006 to 2012, there were a lot of really good albums made with that pedal in different modes, but usually 7 was pretty prominently featured. And so I think I was just like, well, I guess I have to have one, because that sound is like really special on that record, and I at least want to be able to make it. And 7 was definitely the one that was like hard not to do all the time.
It's
for a
fantastic.
while.
It's worth the price of admission. That mode alone, it's worth buying the pedal for, I think.
Yeah, and then eventually, so I think at one point I had 2 PS3s on my board because I stopped using 7 as much, but I then got really into the like double pitch shifted harmony thing, and I was like, it was too obnoxious to like change it live. So I got them so that I could have them set differently. Because even when I got like a pitch factor, the Eventide pitch factor, it has that same sound, but it just didn't, or effect, but it didn't sound as good. So
that's the frustrating thing about a pedal that can do a lot of stuff is when there's no
Mm-hmm.
way to if there's no way to save presets, but then there's also
Yeah.
multiple sounds that you love from that
Right.
pedal. You think like, oh, I'm never going to be able to quickly dial in this sound from that sound to this sound. So I'm going to have to just buy a second one to kind of
Yeah.
make sure that you've got access to both of those sounds at once. But oh well, first world problems.
Yes. Yeah. I will say that I need to play them again, but on the people doing really interesting things with DSP stuff, I remember being really blown away by whatever is going on in Red Panda pedals, because
Oh hell yeah!
that seemed like somebody who had a deep knowledge of programming, but also really good taste in music,
Yes.
um, who was like able to synthesize those two into pedals that like did really crazy things that were also usable. So I think, yeah, I'd be interested to play those again now, and some of the newer ones that I haven't played. I mean, another pedal I was always really inspired by, even though it was really kind of hard to use in a band setup, was Moog Murph. That was the in terms of a pedal that I would wish that I had designed, and that was kind of in the back of my head with this, because that's like a multi-resonant filter thing.
What is that?
And
That's the. Is that one of the Mooga Fugas, or is it which
yep,
one is that?
it's the one that's got, I think Murph stands for multi-resonant filter.
Okay.
Is what, and it's like 8 sliders, and
I know
they're
yes.
all bandpass resonant filters, and it's
right. Okay.
It's a pretty incredible sound. If you're not hooking everything up to MIDI, it's kind of unwieldy live, because I also don't think there's a tap tempo button on it. But that was kind of inspiring with this too, because once you get the LFO and the envelope going at the same time, you can get these, like, it sounds like something traveling of its own accord, but with that resonance up, it's like doing like really strange, almost like arpeggiated sounding filtering.
Yeah.
So that was, especially because I had a Murph and I sold it, and now they're like $1,800. So
yeah, it's crazy, absolutely insane. I'm glad they're starting to be cloned now. There's more and more kind of people starting to slowly release their own kind of versions. Not of that one. Not of that one. I've not seen anyone with that yet. But like you've got. Well, I bought myself. I managed to find a randomly just popped up on eBay. I found the ring modulator one, and it was bizarre timing, because I literally bought that. I think I found it for like 280 quid or something. It was just a very, for what it is, incredibly low price. So it kind of grieved me to spend that much money in one go on something that I didn't even know whether it was, how it was going to sound or what.
Right.
But, I just knew that it was going to be, it was worth buying just for the price alone. Basically, I thought, wow, I'm never going to see one that cheap anywhere again. Right. So I might. If I ever want to demo one, now's the chance to grab one.
Yeah.
And it was literally like the week that I bought it, like might have even been like a day or two after it arrived. Warm Audio announced their version, like the slightly shrunken version of that. I'm like, you're joking me? Like, this is too perfect. Like, I'm gonna have to buy that one now. So,
I wonder. You did. So you did.
Yeah. I had to. I thought I've got the original right here, and it's gonna be just too perfect a video to make. So buy that.
I should watch that video.
Honestly, they are so close. They are really, really, really close. The only difference that I can tell between them is the parameter sweep on some of the parameters. I forget which one it is now off the top of my head, which one has a slightly wider sweep. It might have been the Warm Audio, I think I was pleasantly surprised. I think the Warm Audio one actually goes like slightly faster on the rate and slightly slower than the original Moog.
Yeah,
So
it would be
I might
weird to do it more limited, I guess.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I was very impressed with it basically. So that obviously you got the warm audio one for that particular Mooga Fuga, and then there's the new past effects. I don't know if you've seen the low pass
no, I
filter.
haven't seen that.
I will show you.
Okay.
I've got it here.
It is really nice to know with when you're buying a pedal that, like, not that you're buying it for this reason, but it's good to know that, like, if you don't like it or you don't need it, like, it's not gonna lose all it. Like in the
Right.
case of buying the ring modulator pedal,
Yeah.
knowing that you're not losing money. Like,
Right.
it's not a waste, no matter
Yeah,
what.
it's like you're going to get. There's plenty of people that are going to be interested in buying this if you're not keen on it or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, you're either going to use it all the time or you can get your money back.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Anyway, going
right.
back to the Moog thing, this was the past effects one, and as you can
cool.
see, it's tiny.
A lot smaller. Yeah.
Yeah. So past effects are absolutely amazing. I will sing their praises all day long about how they're able to squeeze so much into like such a tiny form factor.
That's like the kind of thing where I'm like, I just don't think I'll ever be able to do that.
Never say never. You didn't think that you'd ever be able to build, pedals at all. You went into
it's true.
into your job not knowing anything at that
That's true.
first day. So you never say never. Who knows where you'll be 10 years from now? You'll be building your own. You'll be programming your own DSP pedals. For like a PS3 of your own.
Yeah, well, that'd be cool for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, before we go, just wanted to. You've already mentioned it a couple of times. Your band activity.
Oh yeah,
they're very cool. If you want to promote your new album, and what are you touring? Are you playing any shows coming up?
So no, we will. We don't have them booked. We don't have them booked right now. We just finished. We put out an album about a year ago, and then we just finished a new one that will hopefully be out within 6 months. And there'll be touring for that for sure.
Awesome.
And if you're in New York, we'll play locally a few times before that. Probably we don't play too much locally. But yeah, so we've got two records out and the third one ready to go at some point.
Outstanding. Awesome. Well, I will add links in the description for anybody wanting to check out your stuff. And
awesome. Thanks.
I definitely recommend to anyone listening that's interested, give them a listen. They are awesome. So yeah, Activity, check them out. And
thanks.
On that note, thank you again, Travis, for
thank you
giving up part of your evening or your late night.
And you with your morning.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, it's like 4 a.m. or just coming up to
awesome
4:45 now. But yeah, it's fine.
Oh wow,
it's worth it.
Cool. I'm glad.
Thanks
so much,
Travis. I appreciate it. And to everyone watching, thank you again for clicking on this video and giving it a watch. And definitely check out Trapdoor Electronics, and I will also add in the description links to my demos for that Exit Index Redux, as well as any other links that are relevant as well from this interview. So thanks again, Travis. I will love you and leave you.
Thanks. Yeah.
all the very best. Take care.
You too. See ya.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.